Comics. Welcome to the first episode of CG Jumpstart Between the Panels. My co-host tonight and forevermore is Tinfoil Hat Nick.
Good evening, everybody. How are you doing? Welcome to the Thunderdome.
Our guests of honor this evening, we've got the one and only, the Wizard of War Campaign, Mr. Gattori Hanzo.
Hail, brothers. Good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, hell yeah. Always good to have you, man. And we have no stranger to Arch City Comics, Mr. Simon Sim Pothier.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
I'm elevated tonight. I'm very elevated. I'm excited.
So am I.
I'm excited to hear more about Crash Course, man. And we did actually technically have a first episode on a different channel where we talked a little bit about what CG Jumpstart actually is. We'll get into that in a second. I want to take a second to hail the chat. We've got Mr. John David, PK Conrad, the real Steve Dye is creeping in there as well. We've got Mogwai Centurion. Hail, brother. Zaid Comics is hanging out with us. Holy Goat, Prick 13, Drew, a.k.a. Mr. E. Congratulations to Drew. He just got his book, Captain Love, funded. Go get it now, brother. If you haven't. It is ready to go. It is an awesome-looking book. The Fugitive, Panboy, Lando, Soy Child, Dong Lover is in the chat as well. And I think we got a couple more. Yes, free Pan. Please free Pan. We don't want to see him go to jail. We really don't. So, before we get into the meat of Crash Course, Gat, will you please give us just a brief synopsis of what CG Jumpstart is for anybody who has been living under a rock for the past couple of months?
Sure. Well, CG Jumpstart magazine is probably, how can I even describe this thing? I always say the same thing. It's Mad Magazine mixed with Wizard, mixed with Shonen Jump. We got a little bit of everything in there. It's packed full of art. It's packed full of sequentials. We got ongoing serials going in the book. We've got previews for upcoming IndieGoGos. We have a parody section that's it's going to give a lot of laughs out there. We got a little bit of everything. We got interviews, we got tutorials, we got top 10. We're bringing back the top 10 list that everyone loved from Wizard back in the day, and we're doing our own little spin on it, CG only, we got everything, bro. And if you haven't seen it, you guys can check out the latest war campaign where we've introduced the cover and the cover artist and the interview, who is Mr. Andrew Huerta of Sovereign fame. So go check out that cover. Everyone will see that thing and your jaw will drop because that dude's amazing. So we've got everything, brothers.
Yeah, and if you guys if you missed the last episode of War Campaign and you did not see that amazing cover reveal, go check it out. It is absolutely amazing. Huerta just completely knocked it out of the park. I got to see the black and whites a while ago, and with the colors on top of it, my jaw was on the floor. It was, man. It just looks so damn good. So damn good.
I still say that Huerta has that amazing ability to bring visual sound or bring auditory sound in a visual medium. That is a rare talent right there, because you can hear his books. You can hear like his drawings and everything. Like when you look through the art and some of the stuff in Sovereign, you can hear it. Like, I know what that sounds like. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that is something that you don't get to see very often. And it is cool that that cover was, though, beautiful. I mean, when I saw it, I was just like, I don't know. I was like that dude who they showed made all the YouTube videos and memes about when he watched the trailer to Rise of Star Wars or Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, the reaction man.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like. And that was a little, you get that. That's what I love about comics, man. That just instant visceral feeling like that of happiness and joy. That's what it's all about. And if you're not giving the customers that kind of sensation, you don't belong here.
Wow.
Yeah, agreed. I
agree. I was going to say, I try to compare Andrew's art, right, to people, and the only thing I can try to really compare it to is Capcom Street Fighter, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you could visually draw Street Fighter, I know it's been done before, but it hadn't been done right because Andrew didn't do it, So this is what he does, man. He's able to bring kind of a mix of I don't know, a dynamic art style like Donald's, and then add a little graffiti, like a graffiti twist to it.
Mhm.
And then, like you said, he finds a way to kind of communicate sound through his art. And anyone, I mean, you know, I don't know that I've seen anyone able to do that shit, honestly, other than Andrew. So, I mean, there's an incredible talent.
Yep. There's a few people who were in that school, but he does it the best. I will say that. There are others. They're just not quite there yet, but they're in that same school. But Andrew does it the best, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is in a league of its own. Real Steve Dye actually beat me to it. Huerta's art crackles with life, and it really does. That is the best descriptor that I think I could use for it as well. Hail Steve Dye.
Hail.
So let's talk about the feature this evening, which is Crash Course, the brainchild of Gat and Sim. So, Gat, if you want to start us off, where did this concept come from, and I guess how did Sim get involved as well?
If I'm correct here, it was a conversation one night. I don't remember what it was initially even about. It was about something else. We had no intention of really coming up with a new IP. So we were just I was talking to Sim, and someone else was there. I don't remember if it was Ro. Do you remember, Sim?
It was Steve, and we were talking about another
Steve?
book we were supposed to work on.
Okay. So it was me, Steve, and Sim, probably 3 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And we were discussing, we were discussing a manga idea I had that me and Sim were going to be doing. And it kind of shifted all of a sudden because, as I'm wont to do, I fired up a blunt. As Sim's wont to do, he also fired up a blunt. And we got to talking. And this idea sort of just sprang out of nowhere, didn't it, Sim? I mean, you tell me. I don't remember exactly who or what came up with what, but I know that it happened really fast over about a 30, 45-minute span.
Yeah,
right?
we just started
The initial concept, anyway.
Yeah, we just started talking about it, like, you know, what hasn't been done yet, and when we just started like, we could do something like this. Imagine if we did this and that. What about this? And it took within 15 minutes, and we had the IP and the first line of story. Yeah. Steve
Just
was
one
like,
of those just magic when magic happens, man.
Steve was like, "What the fuck just happened here?"
You're right, Sim. That's what it was. Though you brought up what it was. We were just literally thinking up ideas of what hasn't been done before. What can we do that's never been done in a comic book before? And there's several ideas that came up out of that. One of them I'm still going to use, I think. But this other thing, Crash Course, kind of developed out of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty sweet.
Then we said this just needs to be done, and this is going first.
Yep.
We do have a question from Cruder Quotant 1 in the chat. He says, "Is every cover going to have a new cover or all Huerta?"
The plan is to whoever we have the main interview with in the magazine for them to also draw the cover. There may be some rare cases where the interview is done by one person and the cover drawn by another. Maybe they're on the same project. But yeah, there's going to be rare cases like that. I can't really reveal because we haven't really locked down what we're doing for issue 2. We're kind of waiting to see what happens with issue 1 first. But we definitely have like a motif and a plan going forward for what we want to do with the covers. But everyone will be different. The next time we will do a main interview with a new person, and it won't be Andrew. I mean, although Andrew could come back one day, we could have another Andrew on there, you know?
That's awesome. Yeah, I like the idea of changing the covers from interview to interview. That way, you get those covers kind of set the tone for the entire magazine. And so, since that interview is going to be like the big thing, it'll set that tone just to be like, hey, boom, look what I got. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we're going for. It's just we're kind of using it as our theme. And we've had tentative kind of conversations about the second magazine already. And I wish I could tell you what it was. And if I did, everyone would go ape shit. Comicsgate would explode. Like literally fucking explode. If I told them what I have possibly lined up for the second issue. But, I just can't, because we've never actually agreed on it. There's still a lot of talking to do. We don't know exactly what's going on. So, but I tell you, if it does happen, how you top a Huerta cover and the Huerta interview, I'll never know, but this might be the thing.
Okay. That's fair.
We've got a new account in the chat. Hail Gat is his name. He says, Caesar cover Gat, ? Hail brother.
Caesar cover. Yeah. this are you talking about in the future possibly? I mean, yeah, I would love that. Obviously, we got the Caesar cover for Vestige, so I can't wait to see that. That should be showing up here within a week or two. So, you know, I now have a Huerta cover and a EVS cover. You can't beat that in my book, you know. And I got Donald drawing the interior for Vestige. You know, that's 3 top-notch artists right there. You know, I'm working with Joseph Ball. I'm working with Sim. I'm working with a new guy named Doodlebags, and I'm working with Peter Gilmore. And all these people are top-notch at what they do. They all bring their own special flavor to what they do as well.
Not too shabby for a nobody troll, you know.
Yeah, right. That's right. I mean, you know, Ro likes to make fun of me and call me the Indian trash baby because I brought up because I was talking to Ro one night and I always talk about Indian shit to him because he knows about it. Obviously, he's Indian. So I'm like, hey man, I watched a documentary about these people who live in the trash. He was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, Gat. Let me tell you what you are, brother. He's like, you're my Indian trash baby. He's like, forevermore, it doesn't matter. You're my Indian trash baby. I was like, all right, bro, that's fine. Call me that. But I'm also going to be the best Indian trash baby writer there's ever fucking been. So, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. You know, your first step is to find artists. You need to find the right artist for each particular project you're doing. Somehow I've done that, and it's perfect matches on all these projects. So that's the first step in the whole battle. Then I got to produce. So let's see if I can, right?
Yeah.
No, I think I have faith in you, Gad. 100% faith. I've seen a glimpse into your mind, and it is a magical, terrifying place. And I just want to see it. I want to see it all, though.
Yeah. Oh well. I mean, like I said, I got Vestige. I got the whole story arc planned out. There's going to be 8 volumes in that. Bullet Maker's going to be the same thing.
My body is
with
ready.
With the Crash Course, me and Sim are going to kind of use the magazine and put this as an ongoing serial, kind of build the book itself that we will be releasing later at a later date. We don't know when.
And if
we're going to kind of compile all this and add on to it, you know, kind of build this story through the magazine.
Mm-hmm. And we have at least, like, if everything goes well, we had just the first 2 series was like 4 years.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's really ambitious too, is the thing. Me and Sim, like I said before, we get high and then we end up talking. And after 3 hours, we have the entire, 20, we have 24 damn floppies already written, basically. We have, and the way we broke it down, with the magazine, hell, we have plenty of material for the magazine for the next 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's amazing how much me and Sim get accomplished in a small amount of time. We almost do too much.
I'm sure Steve would definitely agree with you.
Yeah, he would agree. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Feel sorry for that guy sometimes, man.
Yeah.
I don't.
Sometimes he gets mad.
Don't. He's getting paid too. Don't feel sorry.
Yeah, I don't feel sorry for him at all. It keeps him on his toes, mate. Thanks, Phil Young. He's cool.
Hail Gad has another pretty decent question here before we get into Crash Course. Says, how will we get this subscription?
No, we're not planning on doing any type of subscription yet. We're crowdfunding this through IndieGoGo. We hope to do it quarterly, depending on, how well it's received. So we have no plans as of right now for a subscription. We want to do this 4 times a year. We're going to at least, we're planning on doing this 4 times this year. Everything goes right. Now, at a future date, maybe we'll kind of look at rethink our business plan and see if we can do subscription. But right now, I would say before we jump too much into this, let's fulfill some campaigns first before I start doing all this fancy shit.
Yeah, it's keep a good head on your shoulders. That's good. You don't want to jump off the deep end. I mean, everybody wants to jump off the deep end, but you don't want to drown.
We have to build a foundation.
Yeah, well, here's how you have to do it, though. You have to do a campaign. You have to fulfill it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gain that customer trust from fulfilling your campaigns, giving to them basically on time, as quick as possible. Being transparent with your campaign the whole time, letting the customer know where you're at, and then, like I said, you got to actually deliver something that people are going to want to keep buying, and that's the hardest part. So, it's coming. That's all I could say. It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
So let's give the people what they want. Let's show off a little teaser of what Crash Course is here.
Mm.
This is the cover with
Yeah,
a
let's make it.
mock-up of the
We'll
logo.
go full screen with it. Make it as big as possible. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead. Continue.
This is a mock-up of the cover. This is not the final logo, but this is the cover that's done inspired by the old classic type of movies.
Yeah, it feels like a B-list racing movie poster.
Yes.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you captured that really well, Sim. Did you design that all yourself, or did Gat kind of point you in a direction and you took it from there?
This is all Sam right here.
It was one of the hangouts. I was designing the covers, and I was doing something, and Passion's like, dude, it's starting to look like one of those old covers. You should probably take a look at them. So I started going through covers, and I'm like, I did the final design, and this is what came out.
Beautiful work, man.
Wow. Hail Passion then for the idea.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that movie that was it like Murder Race 3000 or something like that? It's kind of what it is reminding me of. That
Death Race.
Cannonball Run. Yeah, Death Race. That's what
Death
it
Race
is.
2000. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It was one of the covers.
And a
I was
little bit of
checking.
Cannonball Run.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cannonball Run was the first thing that came to my mind.
Those were the two ones that I was mainly inspired by when I was going through all the covers. I was like, those are the two ones with what's his name again? The guy from Kung Fu. And played in
David
Kill Bill.
Carradine.
Yeah,
Oh,
David
Yeah.
Carradine.
Dean.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
All right.
Yeah.
And here, on the center here, you have Dax Zender. That's his car. Here you have Helly, which is like his adoptive daughter. And this is the monkey that they built together. That's called Monkey Wrench, and that's Gat's favorite character in CG now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I love Monkey Wrench. Everyone's gonna love Monkey Wrench.
So that's a monkey that they built. So it's robotic.
Yeah, because
cybernetic monkey. Yep.
they build him before they build the car, because they build the car together. She's the big tech genius. Mech, like the mechanic,
Mm-hmm.
and he's the one that does the electronics.
Okay.
So they build the car together in that prison world. They're locked up in a prison world. It's like a planet that's still a prison here.
I like the prison world thing. That's a nice throwback to Escape from New York and Escape from LA. I liked both of those movies, and that was always like an interesting concept. That if what would happen if mankind went down that path? How bad could we really go down that rabbit hole? And I thought that's what I always liked about those movies. And I think that with you doing the prison cities like this, it's and putting the race into it, and what some of the stuff that you've told me about it already, I'm liking this. There's a whole lot more to it than what we're going to be able to let on about. And I think that everybody out there really needs to keep their eyes on this particular project, because I think it's going to be a home run.
Yeah, you're right, because it's actually going to be like, this is just the setup with like this is nothing compared to what we got planned in the next 3 stories. It's gonna amplify and change like the entire race aspect of it. Like right now, it's a prison race, and then after that, it's gonna be versus environment, and so on and so forth. Because I don't want to say anything, but you can imagine if you look at the cars that they don't look nice, right?
Yep.
We start smaller scale. It's a dystopian planet. It's futuristic Earth. The major cities are basically prison internment camps where criminals and the poor live. The rich people live outside. It's a way to kind of control population, and leave parts of the earth left open for this rich people to roam and do whatever they want with. Right? It's kind of a utopia for them, but to the people in these prison cities, it's not so much. And this is kind of where we start, smaller scale. Looking at it now, there's a much larger, grander design to this whole thing, what we won't get into. But yeah, this is where we start off. This setting right here.
Awesome.
So this is essentially a jump start into an entire new world that you guys have put together.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
That's really cool. That's really awesome. Who is this beautiful little flag girl with the that's wearing the flag on her behind?
She's just
Yeah.
a flag girl. That's why you don't see her face.
Okay.
That's fair enough.
Fair enough. I kind of like how you did
Sim wanted to draw some ass on the cover.
Yeah.
So
Like
there you go.
there needs to be something sexy there, and I'm not gonna put Ellie as the sexy one. So
Yeah.
Okay.
she's more of the tomboyish, so she's not gonna be that. You know.
But she's the
Not
one
that there aren't other contenders, right, in the magazine for sexiness, right? There are.
And you know,
But those have yet to be revealed as well.
I originally I put something else there, but God didn't want me to put it to a reveal yet of so I put the flag girl because I thought it was funny, flag girl.
Well, what else? What else can we see?
Oh, hold
You
on.
got another page for him there, Sim?
I don't know. Do I?
Yeah, maybe one. Uh-oh.
Oh, now we get a better look at the car itself here.
Yeah, check that thing out.
This is when the flag girl right there is setting off the race, so he's about to gear up. You see the interior of the car. This is just a layout of the UI that he has in his helmet. It's all going to be colored by Passion for drawing.
Okay.
Oh,
Can't wait
Helgat
to
is
see color
correcting
on
me. He
this.
said that's a finish line. That is a finish line. That booty is a finish line.
Mhm.
Then you have Ellie here with the monkey wrench, and then the race starts. And here's another page. Let's zoom in a bit on it.
Oh, there we go.
You see a top view of the race, and then you meet the announcers.
Mm.
You want to talk about the announcers?
Yeah, sure. So we got a couple of good old boys. Even though this is the future, some things don't change, right? So we got a couple of good old boys. We got Tully O'Reilly. That's the guy who kind of looks like Tapeworm. And then we got his buddy. His buddy's name is Jimbo Morse, and they call him Jimbo Mo for short. And yeah, there's some good old boys. They like racing, and they're going to be our narrators through this throughout the racing part of Crash Course.
So here to give you an idea of how the race goes, as you can see, you'll see one racer getting taken out, and a second one right there, and then the race goes on.
So this is a race to the death, right?
Yeah, everything's allowed in there,
Okay.
No holds barred.
except that they're not weaponized in that one.
No, not specific. Like no guns or nothing, right? Now, once we get going, and like I said, we have grander designs, right? But for this race, there's no weaponry allowed. These are people who are they live in the prison city. They kind of have to build their cars out of scrap, whatever they can find. And they surely do not allow prisoners and poor people to have weapons in this society. So guns are not allowed. But we will find some innovative ways, kind of, to make the race interesting and maybe gain some advantages for the riders here.
So are the announcers also prisoners, or you said they're just good old boys? They're just race fans who announce.
No, these are guys who just they're actually part of the utopian part of society, right? They're fairly well off. They're just here for this race. They're here to cover the race.
They're the Crash Course actual announcers, yeah. And they're in the dirigible right there. That's where they're always looking down. They're looking down at the race.
Okay, so they've got a wait. Where do you say they were at?
They're in the.
He called it a dirigible, but it's
called a blimp.
A blimp.
A blimp.
It's a blimp to anyone who's not a snow Mexican, right?
Okay,
I was like, what? What is it? Where are they at? Okay, they're in a blimp. That makes so much more sense.
Oh goodness! Dirigible.
And the entire
Damn you, Sam.
the entire story is told through like first person view of the racer, or the as you see the camera droids that were flying right there, the drones.
Yep.
Yeah, the drones. Yeah.
So this is a big televised event.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
this is put on. Yeah. Even the people in the prison cities do have access to TVs. So this is not just for the purpose of rich people, right? So yeah, it's televised globally.
Very cool. And how often do these races take place?
That's a good question. Now, what we're doing here is a qualifying race for what will start the actual Grand Prix of Crash Course, right? The actual championship.
This is
what we're showing here is the prison qualifier. Sorry about that, Sim. Go ahead, buddy.
It's supposed to be one corporation, the Van Dorn, I think, or something like that. It's called. They're looking for their new racer, so this is a qualifying race. So they're going into that prison thing. It's like, you want to get out, race. The winner gets a deal for the Crash Course.
Okay, so they're racing for their freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's why when I share something, I said the ultimate race for freedom, because it is.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what he's actually racing for. Once he qualifies for this main race, right? What the corporation is able to do for the winner is basically grant them a wish. You know, they're all powerful. They can make anything they want happen, essentially. So every main character that we meet has their own reason for wanting to win the race. Now, who we're meeting now is Xander, who's in the prison. So of course his wish is to actually gain his freedom. So this is why Sim says that now we will be meeting other characters who are not prison racers, right? And so they will have kind of other things on their mind for reasons why they want to win this championship.
Yeah, because the main goal of the Crash Course is the ultimate dream. It's anything you wish can happen.
Okay, so it's not. So the other racers aren't necessarily racing for their freedom. It could be something else that they're working for.
Yes.
Exactly. It's just
now,
for that one.
I'm sure everyone in this race that we're showing, they're all prisoners, so they are probably indeed racing for their freedom. Yes.
But once he actually gets into the Crash Course, the other racers are.
They're not. They're free. They're freed people already.
Okay.
There's only one prison race qualifier.
Okay. All right. I gotcha. Dan, you guys have definitely put a lot of thought into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised with what I've heard you, Gat, describe from Vestige, how much detail that you've poured into that story. It doesn't surprise me at all that you've poured just as much into any other story that you come out with.
Well, yeah, and then now I have help from Sim on this one too. I mean, for instance, I went and wrote the script. I'm the writer. Sim trusted me. He's like, brother, go do this, and I brought him back a script, and he looked at it, and we kind of went over it again. He was like, let me change a few things around panel wise, right? Just to kind of be able to tell more of a story, because this is, this is something I'm new to, especially paneling type decisions. So when Sim said, hey, let me go double check this and flip a couple things around, we'll be able to tell more of a story within the 12 pages that way. I was like, okay, I trusted him. So this is the type of thing that Sim brought to this, that just helps me become a better writer itself. He's able to see things like that I couldn't see. And because he's the dude actually doing the paneling itself, he's able to actually make my story better, and I think that's what Sim brings to the table when we work together.
So so let's a little bit off of Crash Course itself and a little bit more about you, Gat. So when you write a script, do you do a loose kind of outline dialogue, or do you go in and say, okay, panel 1, this, panel 2, this, so forth?
Well, for Vestige, it was very tight. I mean, Donald had no breathing room. He got what he got, and he made it happen. And he did an excellent job. Right? For Crash Course, it's been a lot more back and forth, I would say. I think, and it's because, Sim is partially the writer on this too. Anything that he can add, right, into the whole mix, it always seemed to help. He was always adding on and making things that I suggested better with his knowledge. So, I don't remember your original question, but.
Well, technically, one of the best things that I could add to this is the fact that to simplify it, is we came up with the story together. We lined it up, so I trust him to do his part and write the story for the 12 story. Then he comes to me to edit it with the.
Yeah. Okay. Now I remember what your question is. I took a hit of my blunt. You was asking me how tight of a script this thing was. Well,
How
it
you
wasn't
write-
that tight with Sim, honestly. Me and Sim worked. There's a lot of back and forth with what we revised a couple times. I think there's going to be actually one more revision before the files are done, even. So, you know, it's a lot looser than what Donald got. And then I'd say everyone I work with is a little different. I work with Joe on Bullet Maker, and it's more of a tighter script like Donald.
Mhm.
I'm working with Peter, and Peter, it was really weird. We just kind of fleshed everything out that he kind of foresaw being an issue right at the beginning, right? And then it's been really smooth sailing. It's like, okay, Peter's doing his thing. He's like one of those guys. He's one of those artists that's just like, leave me alone. I'm gonna do my thing. And then you get it and you love it. So, you know, I'm not gonna get into Peter's thing right now, but that's how I kind of worked with him. With Doodle Bags, it's a tighter script. We didn't work too much. There was a handful of questions and issues with paneling with what I'm doing with him, but it's there wasn't much there to change, you know. So it was more of a tight script with Doodle too. So I'd say with Sim, it was
So
probably
it just kind of
the
depends
loosest.
on what property you're working on.
Exactly, it's that, and then it depends on which artist I'm working with too. I wanted a little more input from Sim on this. Let's put it that way.
Very cool. I mean, I could definitely see that. You know, like you said, you and Sim kind of came up with this baby together. So
Yeah,
Sim's input is just as important as yours, whereas some of the other
Exactly.
projects, those are your babies that you got an artist for.
exactly.
He's the main writer, but we could technically co-writing this, so the
Yeah.
process of this is more organic. As in, oh, I got this idea. Oh, hey, let's add this. Sounds good. How do we make it work? Boom, 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 boom. And
And seems like I'm talking to Sim all the time anyway. So you know what I mean? It's like he's more accessible than all the other guys I've been working with. It just so happens that's the way it is. So I feel like maybe that's also part of it too. You know?
Yeah, because Sim lives on the internet. I mean, he's not really a real
Yeah.
person. He's in the internet. I understand that completely because, you know, I'll be dead up asleep and then like my phone will go off and it's Sim trying to get me to come into a hangout. I'm like, dude, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing?
I can relate. I was with Sim last weekend. I think we were up till like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, just spitballing and talking ideas and stuff about how to elevate CG as a whole. It's a good time. If you're
Never
ever,
stops.
we don't close, man. We don't ever close.
Nope.
Nope.
I'm full-time CG.
Hey, brother.
Yeah, full time. Yeah, that's I like that this is a full-time CG type deal. You know, it's getting a little rough out there, and there needs to be a place for just CG to show off their stuff and what they got, because people are trying to muddle us in with just the indie crowd, and we are not indie.
No.
We are CG.
Yeah, I take offense to that. Yeah.
I do too. I take it as a very big offense.
But
Because to me, CG is so much more than indie.
Yes.
Because we are, even though we are, each individual person doing their own thing, when we we are still together on doing, we help each other. Like I do promotions and stuff like that. And then there's all these other people who do promotions as well. And we will talk to each other and be like, hey, have you seen this? Yes, let's get this person over here and let's do this. Let's do this. And, it's just the way that it works. We network with each other. We talk with each other. It's not every, like in the indie scene, they take the indie part extraordinarily serious, where it's all about them. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't about the fans. It ain't about helping your fellow creators get their books off the ground. That is what I love about CG. It's that us versus the world, and you're not going to stop us mentality. I love that, man.
Well, that mentality is why we put out such great products. I mean, everything that everybody who's listening right now, we're going to do this show every week through the launch of CG Jumpstart itself. We're going to make this an ongoing series, talking to the people that contributed to the book itself. And I've seen a lot of teasers for what's in the book, and it's just jaw-dropping after jaw-dropping after jaw-dropping artwork and stories, and it is the best of the best, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. And the only reason it is the best of the best is because everybody pushes each other to do their absolute best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is like Top Gun.
I mean, one of my favorite
Basically.
things about CG Jumpstart is the fact that I know God likes to say it's like Wizard mixed with Shonen Jump. I mean, I see it really like Wizard mixed with Heavy Metal Magazine. This is like up a notch, and it's the best tool that we have to actually show the outside world what CG has in their guts.
Absolutely. Yep. I couldn't agree with that more.
Yeah, I was gonna say if there's anything that would need to be in an LCS, it would be copies of this magazine. You know that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Absolutely.
So
Yeah, because it just
I know
leads,
I'm gonna
lead
order a
people-
whole bunch extra, and every damn comic store I can get to within driving distance, I'm gonna drive to, and I'm gonna give those damn magazines, and I'm gonna tell them, whoever wants one, let them fucking have this thing. Is what I'm gonna do. So.
Oh wow! So you're actually going to try to get this into shops? As
Well,
a
we'll see
freebie.
what happens, right? I know the most local one I have is super woke, so they're probably going to tell me to fuck off, right? I can drive another maybe 45 minutes to a half an hour to the city and try a couple places there, But I mean, here's the thing, right? I mean, we got to try it at some point, right? We have to get eyes on this fucking thing somehow. Now, how do we do that? How do we get eyes on this thing? People are saying digital. Man, I know you guys, there's some people out there who live overseas and they hate the shipping and all this shit, but I absolutely refuse to do digital comics. Hanzo will probably never do digital comics because I hate the existence of the damn things. Okay? And that's coming from the bottom of my heart. I grew up in the 80s reading, going to a fucking pharmacy on the corner and spinning a rack and pulling $1 comic off that motherfucker. And that's what I want to bring back, Now, can we get it to where we're paying $1 for a comic? Nope. But I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to give you the best shit. And if people are willing to pay for it, then we're going to keep giving you the best shit. And it's not going to be any cut on the quality. There's not going to be any skimping on the art. There's not going to be any skimping on the colors. None of that shit. We're going to give you the best and the brightest in Comicsgate. So this is what we're going to actually do for you. I think this magazine is the first step in kind of showing the outside world what we can do.
I think so too. So that answers Ryan Miller Art's question. He says, are we getting a physical copy option? This is only going to be a physical option. There will be no digital option for this book.
No. Yeah.
But
this
you
is
trust me, you're
120
going to want it.
pages. It's 120 pages. We have, like I said, I have to double check at least 72 pages of ongoing serials and previews and completed stories that will be sequential art. We have 90 pages of total art, and we have a 30-page kind of editorial section mixed in with a parody comic section as well. So this is going to be 120 pages. I mean, it's going to be a full-size magazine. I mean, ask Steve Dye what the specs are in the chat if he's here. He'll tell you what we're going to give you exactly. And it's going to be beautiful.
I know this question came up in the War Campaign chat the other night, so I'm just going to re-ask it again or confirm this. It is magazine-sized, correct?
Yes, it is magazine-sized. So like I said, if Steve's here, he'll tell you the specs right now. I don't have that in front of me, but
that's why I keep saying it's more like a heavy metal magazine because it's going to be like a heavy metal magazine size.
I like the fact that you're not going to do a digital in this one, because that's the one thing that I'm starting to hear more and more and more is that people aren't having that same experience of having, like, I know for me, going to the comic book shop once a week or getting to go somewhere that had a comic book was an event. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And we don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
That is completely gone. Like it used to be, it would be 4 of us and we would go in and we pull our money because, we're 8, 9, 10-year-olds doing chores and stuff to make like $5. Yep. And so we pull our money together and we go and buy however much money we had. That's how much money's worth of comics we bought. We'd go to the park, and one person would read one, and another one would read another one, and then they'd switch, and then two more, and that's how it went. And whichever comic that you liked best was the one that you went home with. And, you got to talk about the different stories with your friends, though, and you don't get to do that anymore. And I think that that's something that is sorely missing in comics, in comic book, period, in culture, period. We need to start. These are our myths. These are our legends. These are the stuff that this comic books are the most Americana art form there are out there. With it's purely American, and we need this, man. This is great. I love it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Here's the thing, what I say, and this is why I also hate digital comics. Because you don't have any attachment to the thing if it's digital, man. There's no attachment there. It's just like fucking getting on the damn Twitter, right?
I agree.
If you're saying you have zero emotional attachment to what the fuck is going on internet world, you know that?
Yeah.
If you're sane. Now, when you buy a comic, like back in the day, you buy a comic, and here, this is going to sound weird too, like just the smell of a good comic.
Oh,
It made you feel good.
Smell, dude.
It made you feel good. As a kid, you remember that smell opening up a new comic, man. You undoubtedly, you went to the store, right, to the pharmacy like I did, and you bought you some candy as well, and you got you a pop, and you sat down and you fucking read your comic book, and you drank your pop, and you fucking ate your chips or whatever you got. You know what I mean? And you had a good time. That was your good time as a kid. There's no reason why kids can't have that again. Now, it's going to take dedicated parents who actually love comic books to make that happen, though, right? It's actually physically buying these comics, sitting down with your 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12-year-old kid and saying, dude, this is what I did when I was a kid. These is why I like the things I like, and why I tell you when I watch these movies, they suck nowadays, This is why. And we have a chance now with Comicsgate to kind of build that again for a new generation. People at Marvel have given up. DC has given the fuck up. They don't give two shits about any of this shit. It's woke propaganda from now on. They don't care about actually introducing anything new to the market that's decent. They're going to rehash old shit. Fucking Batman a zombie. What the fuck? Who cares, right? How about introducing a brand new book that you can actually have new heroes? This is some of the problem with some of these heroes too. I'll tell you, they've already written everything you possibly can for Batman. They've already cucked Spider-Man because guess what? They told 1,000 good stories with him already. At some point, it's like maybe you got to try something different. But the things they have tried, it's all been this woke propaganda shit. It's not been actual quality shit like you see from Comicsgate. What if you saw Brutus the Badass? Or what if you saw Sovereign? What if you really saw Cyberfrog and it was a big deal being made by one of these companies, man? What do you think the push would be for Cyberfrog if it was introduced by Marvel or DC or whoever? Like, it would be huge. Everyone would be like, I want the Cyberfrog movie now, right? Instead of this bullshit woke Captain Marvel. So this is what we have the opportunity to do now, right? There's a market of people out there that are also sick of this shit, and they remember the good comics. They remember the good old days, right? They remember Wizard Magazine, the top 10 list, and they're like, well, that's one of the best times of my life. That's when comics really mattered, That's when people actually looked at comics like it was on merit instead of just giving random people who've never written anything halfway creative in their life, right? These jobs. And on top of that, here's what I also know. I was told, and this is by several people in the industry, and I'm not going to give their names out, but they're like, Comicsgate originally was attacking these writers and these artists because rightfully so. So number one, they were block button. They were treating fans like shit. And number two, their quality of their work is trash, and people were telling them that, right? Well, that's fine. They go and get rid of. They could even go get rid of all those guys. But the actual problem up there is all these editors who are making these decisions and hiring these fucking people. So I think maybe some more heat should be going on some of these editors up there, right? And some of the higher names is where all this heat needs to be directed now, because they're just going to hire another woke fucker. If you get rid of the mags, they're just going to hire someone else. You know that?
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's not
so.
They're all diversity hires now. It's all about hitting that checkbox on a form somewhere. I completely understand. Like going back to what you were talking about about the smell of comic book and everything. I'm holding in my hand and no one can see it, but I have the very first comic that I ever bought. I still have it.
Wow.
And let me tell you something.
Holy shit.
I still have it. And it still, every time I open it, every time I read it, you hear all these years later, it's like the heavens open up and it comes down and you know it's there. And I'll tell you what it is. It is Silver Sable and the Wild Pack #1.
Wow.
Had the embossed or the raised up, she's all covered in silver. Also featured Spider-Man and Sandman. It came out in 1992. Wow. And this was the first one that I ever bought with my own money. I had other comic books before that because in the other backboard of this, I have the McFarlane cover with Spider-Man picking up the Gray Hulk. But I have both of those books. I have the very first comic that was ever given to me is a G.I. Joe comic that I have from 1983. I still have it.
Shit.
Oh wow.
I mean, I walked away from comics for a while when they killed Cap and then he came back and was saying Hail Hydra. I was done with that. There was nothing about that I wanted anything to do with. That's when I walked away from Marvel. Honestly, I was never a big DC fan, but I was a huge Transformer comics fan. And then they screwed that up at IDW. I mean, talk about killing the golden goose. I don't know how they did that, but they managed to do that. But man, this is what I love about Comicsgate, though. It has reignited in me this passion for comics. I mean, it's like every day I listen for the mailman now. It's like it's almost like a instinct now. Whenever I hear that mailman coming down the road, I'm like listening, looking out my window like I'm 10 years old waiting on some package to show up. You know what I'm saying? You can't buy that. You can't pay. There's no amount of money that you can pay that could ever like replace that feeling. It's just awesome like that. And I think that's what separates comics and Comicsgate, especially because, you know, we just got off our biggest campaign season ever, had more books funded, more creators coming in and more books made than ever before. And all of these books are going to just started getting delivered and fulfilled all about the same time, it looks like. Yep. And it's going to go, we're going to have like probably 4 or 5 months where all of YouTube is nothing but reviews. And I can't wait for that, man. That's going to be so much fun because when you get to hear about you look at it from that perspective and we get that time back where we're trading comic books with our friends. And that's what we're missing.
Yep. Hail, brother.
Hail.
Yeah, I
totally agree.
Skits Comics says CG brought me back to comics. I am right there with you, bro. Yeah, I had pretty much given up, stopped going to my LCS, was pretty just disinterested with everything that had been coming out. The new 52 even got me a little bit excited because I was interested to see what they were doing, and the excitement lasted for maybe a year tops, and then the second year of that just completely went right back into the gutter. And then I got even more excited when they did the DC Rebirth because they were bringing back all the old stuff. You know, they were restoring that old lost continuity, and that was great for like maybe 6 months, and then it went right back down into the gutter. Like they take 1 step forward and then 4 steps backwards.
Yeah, it's because they are looking at comics now, like the way that they've redone Marvel comics, and this is based on Kevin Feige or whatever his last name is. Those books are now meant to do one thing and one thing only: push the movies. Yep. I'm sorry, but that is not the way comics are supposed to be. The movies always came second to the books, whether it was DC or whether it was Marvel. Even the TV shows with Batman and stuff back in the 60s and stuff, that was still second to the books. The books were the key. And now you see Time Warner talking about killing DC altogether. I mean, 30 years ago, everybody would have laughed and pointed and said, "You're stupid. That'll never happen." And now it is happening. And it's all because of these people who are making these decisions, because they're making the wrong decisions. Well, and then they made the worst decision they could possibly make. They told people who like to spend money to go spend money somewhere else. Well, congratulations, dipshits. Weird to hear.
Yeah, and that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got the people that were spending $100 at least a week in comic shops are now spending that $100+ on CG books every week.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you made us. You birthed us.
You told us to go and do something and make, if we didn't like your comics, we could go make our own. Great. Word. We got you. You know what? I don't even care if Marvel and DC go away anymore. I want Comicsgate books.
Yeah.
And then you bring that up. They told everyone, told us to go make our own. Zach went and did it, and then they tried to stop him.
Yep. Yeah.
Cocksuckers they were afraid. Tried to stop him. Yeah.
They were afraid.
They figured out that, okay, we have done something stupid, because they saw, I'm sure that when Zach first came out and said, well, you know what, I'm going to make my own book, and I've already got to deal with Antarctic Press. I'm probably sure that there was like a 2-month period where they just kind of sat around and like, yeah, whatever, this isn't going to do anything. But then they started seeing that buzz, and that all that idea was just catching on and catching on and catching on. That's when they got, they saw that money leaving.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they have nobody to blame but themselves, because they told the money to walk out the door. When you have done that, you have lost all perspective on what you're trying to do. And comic books were never meant to be the minor leagues for television and the movies. It was the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. I mean, that shit should be secondary. I totally agree. But I'll tell you this though, and and here's even me. I'm making Vestige and all my IPs with one idea in mind, is to keep making a series of comic books. Everything I develop is I have no plans for it to stop. I'm going to keep making these books. They're actual comic books. We're going to print them. But I tell you what could happen. Someone gets a hold of one of these Comicsgate IPs and actually turns it into something else. Now, I don't know what it would be, whether it be a movie, an anime, whatever medium it goes into next, right? Video games. That is where you'll see big wins for CG happening all the time then, First things first, you have to concentrate on building these things, right? You have to get some, like I said, you have to really make the customer happy. You have to win all that consumer disloyalty, right, that they kind of felt from the people at Marvel and DC, right? You have to win that back from these people, and people are willing to give you a chance if you give them a good product and you don't dick around too long, and transparency, like I said, being also a big key. So, that's the thing. That's the first thing you have to do. And then eventually, like I said, secondary things can happen. I know that EVS has some preliminary talks about doing some things with Cyberfrog, right? I don't know exactly what they are, but anything like that it draws the spotlight directly onto us, and they'll see all these great creators here, right? And then you'd be surprised what starts happening then. Comicsgate could really blow up. It'd be the first kind of the first thing. It's kind of like the straw that breaks the camel's back, right, so to speak. And it'll be everyone getting deals and recognition being given to Comicsgate finally by mainstream, right? And with mainstream recognition comes mainstream dollars. So this is something that can develop into an industry that can compete with Marvel and DC. I'm to the point where I don't give two fucks about whether they're saved or not. I don't think they ever could be, right? Even if we did go after the editors and say, these people are fucking responsible. What's the point at this point? Actually, building something, an alternative that can compete with them in the future is what we should do. Now, people say Comicsgate, right? Maybe it's the next Image. Not quite, but it can be a handful of images is what I think. There's a handful of people that, they're going to give you quality after quality product, and they're going to earn their customer base by doing that, right? And so this is what the major thing that Marvel and DC forgot. They have to earn those people's money. You just don't slap any old thing down and just expect someone to throw money at you. And if they don't, tell them to fuck off and block bottom and everything they've done.
But that's the thing. They got complacent. They started. Yep. That's why they started, double shipping big titles like Spider-Man and Batman and Superman twice a month, because they knew people would buy it because because of the name. That's all they needed. That's all they felt they needed. But they forgot that they needed to also include quality. And of course, by shipping twice a month, the quality went down. The stories were watered down. You got these decompressed pieces of trash where nothing happened for 24 pages. Yep. And people got tired of it. People have been begging for something better. And then when they told us all to go fuck off and go make our own something better, we did. And now here we are, a couple years in, and we're still just picking at the surface of this thing.
Yeah, it's really going to take off this year. 2020 is the year Comicsgate actually takes off. I guarantee you.
Agree,
watch what's
man.
Gonna happen.
I agree.
See that. Yeah, and it's funny, because they started double shipping these books, and then they started like shipping out the trash. You know what I'm saying? Like Squirrel Girl and all this other stuff. I mean, that's when the woke comics actually started showing up. It was because they once they checked all their marks on their form for their diversity hires and everything. What do you expect you're going to get when when you're just hiring to score political points? Those aren't comics. Those are political propaganda rags. Those are not comics. I mean, Stan Lee said that if he said there's nothing wrong with having politics in a comic, and there's nothing wrong with having politics in a comic. He said, but you have to be subtle about it. You have to be creative about it. You can't come up and just smack the reader over the head with it, because then they will see that it is a political propaganda rag and they'll stop buying it. I mean, he introduced Black Panther in the 1960s. Why else would you do that other than to say, hey, everything that you think about African Americans is completely wrong, and here's the superhero to prove it. But he did it in such a way that it let people change their own minds. It didn't force them to think the way that somebody else wanted them to think. That's the key. That's the trick. You let people make their own decisions and you let them come to that conclusion, they'll make it all day long, and they will make you rich by buying your book. But if you force it on them and tell them that they have to, especially in the United States, the first thing an American's going to do is do the exact opposite of whatever you tell them to do.
Yeah,
that's totally pretty much it. Yeah, that's kind of the American way. Yeah, Zaid Comics actually, he took the words out of my mouth before I could actually even say them. He says, "Can't wait. CG will explode in 2020, and Jumpstart is gonna be in the front lines." That's 100%, man.
Yeah, it's like a catalyst, I think. Yeah, that, and we have CG only coming too. It's going to be.
That's going to help.
It's not just IndieCron, right? This is not IndieCron, brothers. No. This is something. This is a whole new ball game with CG only. So, we got a lot of cool shit that's coming out, and it's kind of a way. It's a couple places that the community can kind of rally around. People say it's not a community. Whatever. I say it is. So we want these places, CG Jumpstart to act like a catalyst for the creators, act like a kind of a funnel for outside fans. We want CG only to be a place where everyone in Comicsgate can get together and give their opinion, right? There's going to be forums. That's the beauty of this thing. There's a lot of cool things that are coming to CG only. So it's just, like you said, tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. Have you guys been watching Sim just bang this car out in like the last 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah, Sim's good, man.
just doodled this whole fucking car out while we've been just rapping about fucking comics. I love it.
Yes, Sim's got a speed to his drawings, but he can keep it in a serious tone. You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen him speed draw, where it's like craziness and all this other stuff. But I like the fact that he can draw fast and still keep it the way that you would want it to look and everything like that. I love that.
Hell. I'm gonna say, Sim, you're gonna be appearing on Drawn and Backhole tomorrow. You got to get your practice in. I hope you have thinking for ideas for
this dude shits on, this
Gaystar.
dude like sits on the toilet and fucking draws.
I actually do.
We need ideas for Gaystar though. On because it's just some parody, so it's not going to be normally drawing Lone Star. I'm sure you could do it, Sam, but now you've got to make him, super gay. So
Extra, yeah.
Vault Cobalt in the chat says Mad Magazine has fallen. A new Mad Men must take its place. Is that CG Jumpstart? It is.
Absolutely.
CG.
Yeah. We're going to fill that hole as well as the hole left by the Fallen Wizard comics. Shonen Jump's still going, but we're definitely going to have that feeling going on in Jumpstart as well. It's just going to be so awesome, man. It's going to blow people's minds. We keep hyping this up and talking about it, and I still think that people just don't quite comprehend how amazing this is actually going to be.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, I know what's in it, but I know when I see the finished product and have it in my hands, it'll be something totally different. So, I know I've seen all the great artwork that's going into it, at least 99% of it. I think there's a couple things that still need submitted, but I've seen 99% of the stuff, and it's all like, all of these crazy, unique IPs. We've got all of these different genres. We've really touched every genre you can think of. The parody section has some really cool stuff, and actually, without we're here, I would say for the second magazine, we really want to kind of increase the amount of the parody section, right? We want people to come up with their own ideas, and we're still open to people who want to get involved, especially in the parody section.
I've actually got one that I've been kind of plucking away at a little bit too. I don't want to say anything about it because I feel like somebody's going to snatch my idea up if I say it out loud. I'm paranoid that people listen in on my dreams sometimes because I'll think something up and have a dream, and then a little bit later it'll become someone else's reality. I'm like, what? How the fuck? Somebody's listening in on my damn dreams, man.
Look here, fella. The tinfoil hat conspiracy stuff's my thing.
I'd like to mention one thing.
Yeah,
that little dude right there. That we were supposed to say something more about it. That little monkey wrench. You know what's his purpose in the story? Well, maybe not in the first one, but that you will get to know is he's the pit crew.
Yeah,
he's the one
he's
that
actually he is the tool that fixes the car.
He is the one-man pit crew.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you're going to see his tail
every tool combined into one.
I'm actually like really intrigued by that. To see him because he's all cybernetic and robotic. So I'm assuming that like he himself can morph into different tools.
You will have to wait and see.
All right. Yeah. No spoilers.
Nope.
Pan already yelled at us twice.
No spoilers.
No
right.
spoilers.
Hail, brother.
Yeah. See, Ryan Miller art. He says, "Full disclosure, I will steal your ideas." I know, brother. I know. That's why.
Well, at least you're honest.
I try to forget my ideas as soon as I have them, so nobody can take them.
Oh, and isn't there a lifestyle section by Norwal in this magazine?
Yeah, we got lifestyle and Ask Narwhal. We got a couple questions for Narwhal now, but if people still want to submit to us, we need a couple more questions. So go ahead and submit questions for Narwhal. He's giving out kind of lifestyle advice, maybe even relationship advice, that type of thing.
Don't do that. No.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, that dude is probably the most unutilized talent in CG right now. I mean,
Narwhal's going to be on John and Backhold tomorrow too.
Dude, he's starting to get picked up though. I'm glad to see that. His book that he worked on with Art Thilbert, Chromio Mechanics, got funded today. So let's give him a shout out on that one. He was doing the coloring on it, so that's good.
That's the one I was trying to think of the name of that last night, and I totally kept wanting to say Chrononauts, and I'm like, that's not fucking right. Chrono Mechanics.
Yeah, that is a very interesting story concept behind that. I really, really, really like it. Time is an actual machine. I mean, that's brilliant. No one's been, well, everybody's obsessed with time travel as like, linear thing or string or whatever. But what if it was an actual machine? Who would work on it?
Yeah.
I thought that's brilliant.
Interesting.
Yeah, I really love their pitch. Yeah, I think they knocked it out. That's going to be a really cool IP that I think is going to go that's going to go places. Anybody in the chat? Do you guys have any questions for Gat or Sim before we close this out? Remember, nothing too spoilery. We don't want to give away too much. We just want to tease you just enough. And we got Aaron Calamari's in the chat. Hail, brother, says Sim is a stud, top level pro artist.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Aaron's sucking that D a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, where's Moss when you need him?
Oh. Mr. Jizz. Yeah.
Mr. Jizz. Hail, Black Daddy. Hail, hail, hail!
Hail,
Always
brother.
good to have you around, bro. But yeah, it's
Good to see the Centurions in chat. You know that?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Makes you feel comfortable. You know, it's like you're at home. Everywhere you go, if you got a band of Centurions with you, it's like it's your own house. You know?
Mm-hmm. A band of brothers.
Oh yeah, that's a great thing. I was watching I was watching this thing on like great Shakespearean actors and stuff, and they redid Henry V with they showed when Patrick Stewart did Henry V, and then they showed when who played Magneto. His name is escaping me right now. Not Gandalf Magneto, but
Michael Fassbender.
No, Michael Fassbender. Michael Fassbender. Back in the day, he did Henry V, and they compared the St. Crispin's Day speech between Patrick Stewart and Michael Fassbender. Just so spot on, and that's the famous speech that they do in Major Payne and all this other stuff. You know, all these great movies and comedies and stuff. They all about the military and everything. It's all about, you know, everybody will think themselves cheap, and their manhood will be less or womanhood in our case, because we do have Valkyrie in the work. They weren't here when this happened. That they were not grabbing an oar when all this was going on. You know, that's always been the thing about Comicsgate and about War Campaign and about my brother Centurions and my sister Valkyrie. We are always there for each other. And, you know, Caesar said it. Caesar probably put it the best. He goes, the strongest thing about War Campaign is they are so self-effacing that there's nothing you can do to like hurt them. Yep, you know, because we make fun of each other. Everybody everybody sees us out there mocking everybody and, you know, doing our thing on the internet. We do it just as much to each other, and that's where our strength is.
Yep.
You can't laugh at yourself. Too. You've got no business even being on the internet, for one thing.
Yeah,
well, that's the point, right? And if you can't laugh at yourself, you have no business making fun of other people.
Well, then
right?
That's in fact too.
Yeah. So that's how we look at it, right? We all give each other shit. It's out of love. It's what it is. And then when these other people come around and they're just running their mouth for no reason, and I mean, let's face it, 99% of these people out here talking shit about us have hated us for a long time. For as long as there's been a war campaign, these people have fucking hated us. So what's the point even trying to act like we're all friends and buddy? Why? I hate disingenuous bullshit more than anything, right?
Yeah.
So just be what it is. Act like what it is. Not everyone has to get along. It's the world. Have you been outside? You know?
Most of these people haven't, though. They actually haven't. They really are the true keyboard warriors. They always yell at us like, oh, go outside. Get out of your mom's basement. Those are the people that have never gone outside living in their mother's basement.
Now, I can't go outside of my mother's basement because I own my own house. You know, it's like that. Yeah, I mean, I got a job. I got all this other stuff. But you know, this is my, you know, you can't hurt me with that because I'm just going to laugh at you.
So I don't know if we can answer this at this moment, but this has come up a couple times in the chat tonight. Kim, do we have any idea on the price point right now? Can you talk about that or?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, hell yeah, I can. Okay. Essentially, we're gonna do the same thing we've done with Vestige. We'll even actually thinking about mimicking the tiers, we'll be offering original art with CG Jumpstart. So you'll have an opportunity to buy original art from Joseph Ball. Sam is actually doing a thing where you can be drawn into Crash Course.
Die in the book.
Yep, you can die in Crash Course. You can get original art from Peter Gilmore. You can get original art from Doodle Bags, which is one of the other artists we're introducing in this book. We're going to have head sketches. We're going to have posters of that awesome Huerta cover without the Jumpstart graphic on it. It's just going to be just the Huerta art and a pinup poster. And we're going to do CG only stickers, I think. So it's going to be essentially the same tiering as Vestige. I think it's going to be the same price as well. So I don't think if it wasn't broke, we're not gonna fix it. I do know that print run for a 120-page magazine is actually significantly more. So we can't really lower the price if it's 120 pages. Honestly,
Yeah,
and this thing's going to be nice. We're going to give you a premium book too. I mean, this thing's going to be nice.
Yeah. So, Steve did say that earlier in the chat. 7x10, perfect bound magazine.
There you go. I mean, it's going to be beautiful. So it's essentially going to be the same pricing as what Vestige is, even with the tiering. I can't tell you exactly. Maybe it's there's a minuscule difference, but essentially that's what it's going to be.
Nice. And then Vault Cobalt. Sorry, my screen's kind of blurry. Was asking if we have anything for comic writers in the magazine.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's several writers that are going to be introducing their own kind of IPs in this magazine as well, right? So, and actually in the future we have need for more. I mean, if you have short stories or you have previews that you want to get out there and you're kind of writing a book and you're going to launch an IndieGoGo, we want to talk to you guys for the second magazine. This is what we're doing. We're essentially trying to set it up to use this as a promotional tool within Comicsgate as well, so that you can kind of get your work out there. Maybe a 6-page, 3-page preview of something you're working on and going to launch after the magazine is going to come out, right? So these people will get this, they'll be able to flip through and see a little bit of this work and kind of gauge on, hey, this is how excited I am for this, or and we'll even tell them, hey, this will be coming out in so and so, like estimated time. We're going to use it as a promotional tool. So that's what we need. We need more writers and more people that want to be involved in this in the future. And we need kind of a preview section that we need to go on, which we have several already in this book. And we have ongoing serials, which when I work on my next project, I won't be able to write. I won't be able to write as much as what I did in this magazine. So, yeah, definitely. We have another writer that's involved that we're bringing out. It's Fowler. He's working with Rob Willis. They have a great story in this thing. I mean, this fucking thing is cool, man. I can't wait for you guys to see this. So that's another guy that we're bringing to the table. Joe Ball, who is actually developing his own IP in this thing. Sim is making his writing debut with Crash Course, actually. So,
yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of spots open. We've got people who wrote in the parody section. We've got Moss, who's making his first appearance as a writer. So he'll be writing something called the Meme Police, which is part of the parody section. So yeah, I mean, there's plenty of stuff, specifically editorial wise. That's a whole nother subject, brother. Now I don't know specifically what you're talking about, whether it's project or editorial wise. Now, yeah. We also have various things going editorial-wise as far as interviews. There's something called Critics and Creators, right? Who's doing that? Is that you, Adam? Aren't you doing that, Adam?
No, that's
Smirk.
Smirk and Steve are working on that one.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, we've got.
I'm really excited about that. I came up with the name.
You want to know about the editorial stuff? Ask Steve. So.
Yeah, well, and we're gonna, like I said, this is the first of many. This is gonna be a weekly show. We're gonna really dive into this book. We're gonna have all these different creators on to talk to you guys and give you some sneak peeks of what's inside the magazine. Let you guys in the chat, ask your questions. Drew, aka Mr. E, wants to know. He's got a question for Sim. He says, "Do you ever sleep?"
No,
not really.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Few hours a night, and even that he's sleeping at his desk with the pen and paper in his hand.
I take naps. Have a very comfortable chair.
I remember. I remember. I told Sim one time. I was like, "Look, dude, you've got to go to sleep." Because like he was just. It was just a point in time, and he was like, "I haven't slept in like 2 days." I was like, "If you don't go to sleep, you're gonna start hearing stuff."
You
don't go to sleep.
literally start hallucinating.
And he like went to sleep
Then I
for like
took a day.
15 hours. He woke up and he was like, "Dude, you're right. I feel so much better." I was like, "Come on."
Hey, we got Yellow Flash in the chat, liking this CG Jumpstart. Hail Yellow Flash.
Hail
Yes,
Yellow
this
Flash.
is going to be
Hell, brother.
epic. We're going to knock
Yeah, I say
everybody's
Flash is doing
socks
drawing
off.
fire too.
Yep.
We're doing drawing backhold tomorrow. We're gonna try to start around 8:00, and then I believe Flash was doing drawing fire afterwards. And
Yeah.
he's got a hell of a lineup at 10:00. So yeah, tomorrow night it's like CG takeover for the artist. So everyone needs to tune in from 8:00 on. You're gonna have all types of cool art being drawn on air. So.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be an epic day. We're actually we're kicking it off a little bit on my channel. We're doing a special Halloween show helping Miss Crystal McGee close out her wonderful Good Night campaign. We're going to have a couple special guests on that as well. And then drawn and backhold right after that. And then immediately following that, we'll be drawing fire. So it is going to be a lit night in CG tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Hell.
Yeah.
We're taking over the airwaves.
It's gonna be huge.
Seems like it, man.
It's a big CG
It's getting
event
organized now,
Yeah.
right? Everyone's kind of coming together, and we're organizing, and we're, it's more than just. Dude, this is like a carnival. You got a little bit of everything here, man. You know that we got something for everyone, and on top of it, we're going to give you the best comic books that you can buy.
Yeah, we went and built the best Comic Con ever online.
Yep.
Yeah, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say Wilberforce Wooster says Wednesday is becoming the best night. It has been the best night ever since War Campaign took over. So I don't know what you're talking about, but it's just getting better.
Hell.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right,
I think that I just want to say this one thing real quick. I think that the greatest thing, probably one of the greatest things about CG is that it is one of the I've said this many times, it's one of the purest forms of the free market you will ever find. If you got something that is good and people want it, they will buy it. It's amazing. You don't even have to guilt them into it or anything. You just present your product and they'll say, okay, yes or no. It's amazing how that works. That's the greatest thing. One of the greatest things about CG is it is that kind of market. Now, if you come in and you have garbage, or you aren't transparent, or you don't deliver on time, or you do some other shady stuff, you're going to get called on. That's the other great thing about CG is the accountability. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
You won't get that anywhere else because, this. I know that I'm not in this for pats on the head. I'm in this because I want to see these books get done. I want my book. Everybody who doesn't know me, who's in the chat, I am a promoter. I am a free promoter. The only payment that I ask for and expect is my book.
That you paid for, though. You're not even taking free books. Yeah. You're backing these projects as well.
Yeah, I if I have to do what I have to do to get funded, so I can get the book that I paid for, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Man. I just want my book. Mm-hmm. That's all I want.
Hell, brother.
El Gargoyle says, wait, you're going to have backhold after Crystal. I am not. Backhold is going to be on War Campaign. I am just doing a pre-War Campaign show with Crystal in the hour before, between 7 and 8, before War Campaign goes on. Oh, Steve says
it's on War Campaign 8:00. Yeah.
Yeah. Steve says Casey's Total Man program is also in Jumpstart.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there's so much shit. I have a notepad of everything editorial wise, but we have so much stuff going in this thing. Like, the really cool thing that I'm looking forward to is the top 10 list, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing with this top 10 list. We've automatically excluded Caesar from it, because obviously, Caesar is the emperor. He would be top. He would be number one every time, right? But so it's an actual competition now, right? So now we've got everyone else available. Whether there be a writer, an artist, some type of creator, and Comicsgate, and it's going to be a top 10 list strictly for Comicsgate. It's going to be the power rankings. It's going to be something for people to argue over, and I don't know, it'd be a good time, man. I know that everyone liked that back in the day in Wizard,
Oh, yeah.
That was some of my favorite stuff. That and the reviews, and hell, I always loved the price guide too. I know we talked a little bit about doing a price guide.
Well, yeah, I thought about that, but I don't know. It just seems like filler. I would rather put more artwork in it. You know that? Because I was kind of not really pigeonholed. Steve kind of made me see the light, right? He was like, I want editorial in this, and I want to do all these things. And eventually I kind of was like, yeah, man, we do need to do some of that. I want to combine these ideas, not just give artwork out there. Because that was my main thing when I thought of it. I wanted to have a magazine where we could kind of give people exposure, right? These great artists and writers a chance to do something where if you're doing a whole book, it takes you 4 months or 6 months or 8 months. If you're doing 12 pages in a magazine, you can do that fairly quickly, and you can get a lot of your ideas out there available and get them more exposure that way. Right.
Yeah.
So it's just another tool for artists out there and writers that, they're working on something and they want to gain some hype from it, and they want to see kind of gauge reaction from what they're doing. Right. And I feel like this magazine can be used for that as well.
Yeah. Yellow Flash says, should leave him in it. Nintendo Power has top 10 lists that barely changed. That's true. But we're trying, like you said, top 10 list, Caesar's a given. We want to show the little guys who we think is good.
Maybe you should do like the top 10 list, then you do a top 3 legendary list.
I will say this about the top 10 list. 2 of the 3 people we asked are very, very, very strong mail-in people. So I wouldn't be surprised to see old Coach at the top of 2 of those lists. Let's put it that way. Now, I don't know anything. I haven't actually seen the list. I think Steve might have them. We'll have to ask. But I know 2 of the 3 are like mail-in militia, hardcores. So if you smell some bias, you know where it's coming from,
Yeah.
Vault, I don't know if he's asking about the top 10 list or if he's asking about the drawn and backhold / drawn fire. Will voting be involved? So I'd be happy to answer if you specify whether you're talking about a top 10 list or the drawing competition. Or I guess, Gad, you can answer to both.
Well, yeah, I mean, voting will definitely be involved for the drawing competition. Whether we include a fan vote in the future for a top 10 list, that would be interesting in for the magazine. That's a possibility.
Well, and some of the stuff like
actually
that,
kind of like that, right?
So fights,
maybe we'll do that.
Argue over the top 10 list. Have fans get on the show, and we just fight over the top 10 list. Friday night fight.
Yeah.
Whoever wins that gets to be. Then they go to the next week, and the next week, and keep going.
Well, I think we'll probably review it once it comes out on War Campaign. We'll argue a little bit on there about it. So yeah, anyone's welcome to do it. I think that's a pretty cool thing. That's what people used to do back in the day about the old Wizard top 10 list.
Oh yeah, that was a heated discussion amongst me and my friends. Was that top 10 list? It was that, and oddly enough, it was the Nintendo Power top 10 list, because that was what we did. We read comic books, we played video games, we went to school, we went to work, we went home. That's just the way it was.
Yeah. There's a little insight to the drawn and backhold voting, though. There will be two straw polls being voted on. One, you'll vote on the winner of the show, the best artwork. And number 2, you'll vote on who the gayest couple is. So we're kind of picking our champion, right? And during the show, there'll be a little squabble, and I'm assuming there'll be a little tomfoolery, right? And then so the audience will also decide who is the gayest on stream as well. So there'll be 2 votes on drawn and backhold.
Nice.
That's interesting. That's pretty interesting. Then I don't have to pay for
will the
right?
gay lord win gayest every time?
Oh,
That's what I want to
Oh.
know. Because he is the gay lord, it's almost assumed, right? Doesn't matter who who his champion is of the night. They're automatically the gayest squad.
So you're telling me
So-
that the Gaylord title is in play?
Yeah,
Oh shit!
maybe
Right?
so. Maybe so.
Oh,
Maybe so. Well, we'll have to ask Grow
Like a
about
belt?
that. I don't know.
yeah,
I don't
you
know if
should.
he'd be willing to
Gay
give
Lord
up that
Championship?
title, man.
A belt
Holy
or a
shit.
Yeah,
fucking,
I mean,
a
well,
belt or a crown.
I just assume he'll win the gay vote every time. I could be wrong, right?
I mean, who's gonna out gay the Gaylord, really?
I don't know. John Wallace, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, things could
Maybe
get really
Sim will.
interesting.
Maybe Sim will. You never know. It's up for the
Mhm.
fans to decide, right? It's we're not going to get butt hurt over whatever the results are. It is what it is.
This
You
is
know?
gonna
You
be
let
a
the fans
new.
decide.
This is like a dawn of a new era for War Campaign.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it. Yeah, we're on like the precipice of something great, man. I can feel it. You're right. It's a launching pad. All this shit's a launching pad for what's going to happen in 2020 in Comicsgate. It's
Mhm.
going to be fucking a wild ride.
And then just one thing you can say about War Campaign is that we're about freaking fun.
Oh, yeah.
Hell, brother.
I mean, that's the bottom line.
We're here to party, man.
Yeah.
Mr. Yanafui says, Sim, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I guarantee I know what this question is going to be. You buy Mogwai?
I have
He was in my
Maguire.
chat all night last night. That's all he.
I know
I have
you
a
asked
question.
me.
I have a question for you. Question for you. You buy Mogwai? You buy Mogwai?
Mr. Yanafui, man, that's a good dude.
Let me tell you something. He has got my vote for meme-er of the year, not just meme.
Yeah, here's the thing, guys, right? We were talking about this already. So we're like, well, Yanafui, it's almost like we can't include him in that. He's got to win like some type of lifetime achievement. award,
Okay,
right?
that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, I
I
mean, I
mean,
don't know what we're actually going to do. We're going to sit
Rookie of
down
the
and
year?
talk before January. Yeah, Rookie of the Year.
Rookie
That's a
of the
great
year.
award. Yeah.
Because, I mean, he
Yeah.
did kind of come
He
out of
could
nowhere
win
and just
all
started
those, right?
blasted it.
MVP, most valuable, or MVM, most valuable memer, right?
Mm,
I don't know. We'll see. I know the end of the year award show is going to be fucking crazy too.
Yeah.
And we're going to do some big things with that this year. I think everyone will like
Why
it.
don't you have a
So,
second category? Like, you have the memes and the video memes.
Yeah,
we could
I
break
think
it
that's
down
something we
into
could do. We could
different-
separate it.
Yeah. Straight memes or motion memes.
Do you love me like I do for you? Yes, I do, Mr. Unifui. I love you.
Aw.
And then you can kind of
Hell,
do
brother.
the whole art side of it, like postmodern Dadaist of the year, right? Because they're the more artsy memes,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there'd be a certain amount of people for those. There's like Ty and Moss and Black and Ryan, like they do kind of artsy memes, So or CDK, whoever. I'm getting you all confused now. All of you do memes, and I can't. You're in a category, right? But not everyone can win an award. But we love y'all. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, you're everyone is valuable memer.
Yep.
Not to be one of those that everyone gets a medal because no one's actually getting a fucking medal, but you're all valued.
No. Yeah, I mean, there's only one winner around here, and the winner gets to swing his cock around. That's just the way it is.
There are no
That's America.
trophies in War Campaign. That's
Nope.
for sure.
Damn Skippy.
Those
Yeah.
things are the ruin of this country. And if you ask Gat, he'll say it's also SpongeBob. But I
Yes, those two things. Yes,
Shit, don't get him started.
have proof
please.
that Gat may be a secret SpongeBob fan. I don't know.
No, brother. No, I fucking hate it with a passion, brother.
Yeah, you and my
Hey.
wife are right there. Like she
Oh,
won't let my daughter watch SpongeBob.
Good.
So,
good. Yes.
I let her watch SpongeBob though.
Oh no, brother,
What?
no.
It's the ones that are on her on her little Kindle for Kids or whatever. So it's like the tamest of all the SpongeBob. Because everybody knows that SpongeBob was written for stoned college kids. It wasn't written for kids. It was written for college people sitting in their dorms getting stoned. But like she likes the silliness of it, but there has to be a time where the SpongeBob does stop. So I do agree with that.
Yeah, bro. It's just responsible for making kids just dumb. That the education system, entertainment in general. I always make fun of SpongeBob, right? But it's just one of the symptoms of it. it's the whole thing, man. It's just designed to make people their brain put inside of a box, right? And only able to be able to think a certain way. And it's horrible. You can see it, the people that are like that, and you just pity them, man. And then, you know, it's sometimes you think maybe ignorance is bliss, and you'd be better off being one of those people, you know? Just because the frustration, you look at the world so frustrated and jaded sometimes, but I don't know.
I can't do that though. I can't look at I couldn't do the ignorance thing because like I'm a big student of history and everything. And so like when I look at something, I know that this has already happened. And so I can see it happening again. It's the closest thing to being able to predict the future is you could possibly get is actually knowing and understanding history. You can predict everything that's going to happen as long as you pay attention to what has already happened. Because it's cyclical. It will happen over and over again until you do something to make it stop. And
you just got to recognize the symptoms when they occur again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that seems like a good enough place as any to wrap it up. This has been an awesome, awesome show. We talked Crash Course. We talked the fall of the comic industry and a whole lot more. Way more than I ever thought we were going to get into. So that's usually how it goes around this show, though. Mm-hmm. I don't ever like to really stay on topic. We have a topic and then we kind of hover around it. Make sure that you have backed Vestige, though. If you have not already, it is going to be closing soon. And as soon as it closes, Jumpstart is right on its heels. So make sure you get in on Vestige before it's gone for good. Because now, correct me if I'm wrong, Gat, Vestige 2 is not going to be out for quite some time.
It's going to be next year. I still have to talk to Donald and work everything out. But I know, so generic timeline is Bullet Maker spring, right? I would say probably springish. And then Vestige, if everything works out correctly, would be probably, I don't know, 4 months after that, I think I would do Vestige 2.
Okay.
So it's not that far, honestly. I have to talk to Donald because the thing is he has other projects lined up. So it's all going to be according to what his schedule is too, right? So this still needs hammered out, but that's essentially what I'm thinking, you know. I can't wait too long on both these IPs. I have other projects that I'm going to be working on in the meantime, in between time as well, and getting some other books together, but for now, I'm planning Bullet Maker and then Vestige 2, probably, depending on Donald's schedule. If not, I have other stuff lined up that could come in between Bullet Maker and Vestige 2. But I don't want people to wait too long on Vestige 2 is the problem. But like I said, it's according to Donald. We got to work that out.
And Vestige, by the way, is 3 backers away from 1,000 backers.
Fuck. That's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I mean, the support. Yeah, brothers. Yeah. Just thank you, everyone. Like, never in my wildest dreams did I think we would hit 1,000 backers on this.
And you're under $500 away
but
from $60,000.
Holy shit. Yeah.
These are people
that's the power of Comicsgate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. These are people from a chat who got together and did something and made something happen. What's your dream? Comicsgate is here to make that happen.
Well, that's you. I'm glad you brought that up. I've never actually said that. I mean, this is literally a fucking dream, man. Like, you know, I get to talk to EVS all the time. He did my cover. I got Donald do the interior art on my cover. I got Huerta on the interior art on my first book. I'm sorry. I got Huerta to do the CG Jumpstart cover. I get to talk to him all the time. You know, like, dude, this is the life, brother. Like, Comicsgate, you know, we're a big family. We make dreams come true. We back each other up. Like, this is as good as it gets when it comes to comic books.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. We got one more question before we dip out of here. Zaid Comics says, how are you going about releasing Bullet Maker and another CG Jumpstart? Will they ever overlap? Will Bullet Maker be on your own IGG account?
No, I'm essentially going to finish Bullet Maker before I launch it, right? And so the timing will just depend on where we are with the magazine relative to the support we receive when we do launch this thing the first time. You know, if we launch it and, you know, we get the support that we expect, then we're going to go straight into the next magazine and I'll fit Bullet Maker around it, right? So, But essentially, I'm going to have Bullet Maker done, ready to go. When I launch the campaign, people will get their books within a couple months. So
Dude, that's the best way. That's the best way to do it.
and that's what we're working towards with all of our projects, all my projects coming in the futures, with the magazine and my books included. We want to have these things done, ready to go before we actually launch these campaigns. That's why there's going to be a lot quicker turnaround. People are going to be a lot satisfied when they only have to wait a couple months on a book.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's right. All right. Well, yes, thank you all very much for joining me. Hail to the chat. You've all been absolutely wonderful. I will announce the guest for next week's show probably Saturday on the Weekend Woke Up, so tune into that for the next announcement. Until then, I bid you adieu. Oh, yeah, make sure you're subscribed. That helps too.
Hail.
Yeah, go sub my channel too.
Hell.
Hell.
Yeah.